I don't know, maybe they did something beforehand. Marnie would know. No? Okay. And this became an annual program at the BJE. And at one point, we had a hiatus when we were merging with the JCC and the Federation, and then we had building renovations. So when we were not doing Evening of Jewish Renaissance, the Board of Rabbis decided to have something similar called Drash and Dessert. I was still the staff person, but it was a Board of Rabbis program. For the Evening of Jewish Renaissance, originally we had up to 24 concurrent workshops in each of 2 sessions. Often we paired it with Havdalah, or we'd have a shuk of some sort. Rhode Island community, Jewish community, the whole state is around 20,000 Jews, and we had as many as 700 people showing up on a Saturday evening. Usually it's only 400 to 500, but still I think that's pretty good for our size community. And also we deal across the spectrum, unaffiliated to Haredi. Usually we don't have a keynote. Originally I saw this as an opportunity for each adult education provider and rabbi to showcase and promote their own programs. And sort of the idea that show what you do, and as was mentioned before, maybe you'll attract people from other congregations to your programming. Though it was open to other presenters, all the presenters were volunteers. We weren't paying anybody. Popular topics were serious Jewish study, wine tasting, Israeli short films, medical ethics, the Chevra Kadisha, Jewish humor, and I always invited the Rosh Yeshiva to make a presentation. I try to have text, Jewish thought, Jewish life, food, Jewish art, music, Jewish history, Israel. A few things in each one. It's evolved. Now we use a lot of JBC authors, so it's costing us money to bring people in. I bring in some Israelis that I find on tour in the States. We used to have, as I said, maybe 24 sessions, though some are poorly attended because people go where they want to go, and you may not have whatever's popular. So one reason for cutting back is to make sure that there are more people in each session, in each workshop. This past year, I cut back even more drastically because I had Martin Fletcher and Jonathan Weissman presenting, and I was afraid they'd draw from everybody. They draw the majority of people, so I really cut back on the number of sessions, which was a good thing. And I also had Martin Fletcher become a keynoter because I thought everybody would want to hear him. So when he has his workshop, let them go other places if they want. The shuk has varied also. It's often been arts and crafts, sometimes local people. Sometimes I brought in one person, I think it's from someplace in Israel. I think it's Bar Kochba Gallery, and he represents a lot of different artists. Sometimes I've had tables from various organizations and synagogues. The criticism, often it was too many rabbis, which sometimes they were saying it's too many Orthodox rabbis, so I cut back. And that's one reason I went to the Jewish Book Council and to Israelis touring to bring in other people. I cut back on the Kollel and the Chevra Kadisha and the Chabad, though I'd still make sure you have the Rosh Yeshiva. And the other piece that the rabbis did was the Drash and Dessert, and that's the Board of Rabbis. So it's that's all the liberal, the progressive movements, plus some modern Orthodox rabbis. And normally we have 3 panels of rabbis in each session. It's usually one subject, and each panel is a variation of the subject. I find that it's very hard to get them to organize themselves. Head of the Board of Rabbis will say, I need this, that, and the other thing from them, and they don't reply. So one time they wanted to do this in February, March, and even in November, December, they couldn't get organized. So since then, I say I need somebody in charge, and I have to start working with that person in the spring. So in the spring, you have to organize yourselves and decide what topic you're doing, and give me somebody to work with. And then it's easier to get them to respond. I have more time to work with. And then the dessert part is I always make sure that the JCC kitchen creates the fabulous desserts, which I think is a big attraction. The last time we did something different called Saturday Night Flavor. I tried reproducing something, it didn't work out. It was supposed to be, this did not come out as I wanted, but Saturday Night Fever type poster. But anyway, and we had, in the Shook, we worked with a local, I forgot what you call it, a food business incubator. And they had to be kosher in some sense. The modern Orthodox rabbis were very liberal in a sense in who they would permit. And we had everything from free-range kosher poultry to free trade coffee and chocolate, granola packaged by refugees, rugelach, the JCC greenhouse run by kids, and locally produced beer and whiskey. So we had the Shook, but we still had the panels. So I'll pass out what we did. As I said, this was not printing right, so I just had to give my outline that I had at one point. You'll see we had just food, and we had food justice. The difference being just food was the production of the food, and the workers and the restaurants, and the food justice was more making sure that everybody gets the food that they need. Those are the main distinctions. But so this is our last evening of Jewish Renaissance, and this is sort of the outline for the Saturday Night Flavor. So I'm sorry, didn't come out nice and colorful as I intended.